When you think of simple explanations, you probably don't think of English teaching. The truth is, I've been an English teacher and a reading writing teacher for a lot longer than I have been a science kind of STEM teacher. My name is Dear Tiagi, and for context, the last 2.5 years I've been doing free SAT reading writing tutoring, and even before that, I used to volunteer at a local elementary school teaching kids how to read and write. And I do have a bunch of videos going over SAT reading writing, so feel free to check those out. They do help with AP Lang multiple choice; they're kind of similar. But in this video, right, I'll be going over the AP Lang multiple choice and FRQ tips that helped me get a 5 last year, and the tips that I think will help me get a 5 this year in Lit. So to start, right, the multiple choice section, it's 45 questions, 1 hour long. There's 5 passages. The first 2 passages, well, they're mixed up, right? But there's 2 passages, right, that are reading passages. These are 23 to 25 questions. And then there's 3 writing passages where you basically have to edit the text to make it, better. And these are 20 to 22 questions. Okay, so first, the reading strategy, which I think is a little harder. For reading, the first thing you have to do is read the entire passage. Okay, I know a lot of people say you don't have to read the entire passage, you can read the questions first, and then read the passage. But I think you really have to read the passage entirely, plus the intro, right? The little blurb at the top, read that blurb. It helps you understand what the passage is even talking about before you go into the passage and get lost, maybe. Okay, and the key thing is while you're reading the passage, to make sure you're not wasting time, read actively. Okay, by actively, what this means is you're actively thinking about the passage, right? You're thinking about things like, what is the claim of the passage, right? What is the author trying to prove, or what's the purpose of the author, right? Are there any shifts, right? Does the argument change anywhere? What devices does the author use, right? The tone the author uses, right, to create his argument, and what evidence is being used as well. Okay, and for active reading, right, you can kind of actively read in 2 ways: mentally, which is harder if you haven't practiced it, but the easier way is just using a piece of paper, right? On the AP Lang multiple choice, you'll be given 2 pieces of scratch paper. Using that scratch paper, right, writing ideas down, doing that kind of stuff can really help you understand the passage and actively kind of think about it while you read. Next, once you read the passage and really understand it well, and again, you don't have to understand the entire thing well, as long as you get like these main concepts out of it, right, you should be okay. Okay, but once you understand the passage to some extent, right, you then want to read the questions, right, and read the question well. Right, too often people read the question, you know, not the whole question, they just kind of like skim it, and they miss key parts of the question, and they get the question wrong because they fall into traps. So read the question well. And once you read the question, before looking at answer choices, I think it's really good to kind of think of your own answer. And the reason why is by thinking of your own answer, right, you don't fall trap to the kind of second guessing that can happen by looking at the answer choices, right? You see an answer choice like, oh, this could also maybe work. It's different than what I was thinking, but maybe it could work. And then you can kind of fall into a trap and get seduced by an answer choice, even though it might not be right. So think of the answer first, right? Your answer, and then read the answer choices. Okay, and of course, eliminate the answers as you go, right? Some will be just completely wrong. Eliminate those and pick, the right one. Okay, and they have a really nice elimination tool that I use, which is pretty good. You can use that as well. Okay, then after you do that, right, verify your answer. While English might seem like a subjective kind of subject, right, it really isn't, right? This is an AP test. Every answer choice has to be objective, right? There's only one correct answer, right? One correct answer. And that one correct answer is 100% supported by the passage, right? So, at the end, you can always verify your answer by going into the passage and finding evidence that supports the answer, right? Every question is 100% supported, okay? And again, if the question is hard, if you can't answer it, right, move on. It's okay to not answer a question, right? You only need to get a 4. If you get 4s on every argument essay or every essay, which is pretty easy, and I'll explain why, you can just move on, right, and get 32 out of 45, and that's enough to get a 4, right? 32 out of 45, and then 4s on every essay, you can get a 4 with that, okay? So move on if it's hard, right? You have a lot of time to answer these questions, so move on if it's struggling, okay? Next, for the writing section, first, I think you should also read the entire text for this one as well. And for this one, you can read a little faster because you don't really need to understand it as well, right? But still, doing the kind of active reading is important as well here. And the reason why I say to read the entire thing here is because a lot of the questions, even though some of them are just grammar questions, a lot of questions do require you to understand the whole like context of the piece and like what the claim is. And so reading the entire text will help you first understand that before you answer the questions. So first read the questions, right? Because you need the context. Then once you read the questions, or sorry, read the text, then you read the questions, right? So now you read the questions. When you're reading the questions, right? Right, some questions will ask you for some kind of sentence, refers back to some sentence. Read the entire sentence that they refer to, and sometimes even read the sentences around it, right? Try to understand, what was the context of that sentence. And again, this is where reading the entire text helps you, because if you read the entire text, you understand the context of the sentence automatically. So read the entire sentences that the blank is in, right? And then with this, you can kind of then, pick the best answer pretty easily, I'd say. Right, because you understand the passage, you read the question carefully again, and then read the best answer, right? A lot of the questions will be kind of off topic, or a lot of answers will be off topic. They'll kind of be contradictory to what the passage says, and you can again eliminate these things and move on. Another thing is when you're actively reading, you can also note things that sound odd, right? So where passages sound weird, that could be a question that they'll ask in the multiple choice. So you can kind of note that as well. Okay, so now for the FRQs, which I think is where people are a little more afraid of. But really, it's not that bad. And trust me, the reason why is because the rubric is pretty lenient, right? 1 point for thesis, 4 points for evidence and commentary, and 1 point for sophistication or having complexity in thought. And so generally, right, in your essay, all you need to get at least like a 5, right? All you need, a 5 on your essay, right? All you need is a thesis, right? 1 sentence thesis is good enough, and multiple if you need it, right? And then 2 body paragraphs. That's all you need. You only need thesis, 2 body paragraphs. Inside your body paragraphs, you want at least 2 pieces of evidence. For the open argument, though, you want it to be, you can use 1, that's fine, but for the other ones, you want 2 pieces of evidence. And again, you want to also explain how the evidence connects to your thesis. Right, so every time you include evidence, you need to explain how that evidence actually supports your thesis, supports your argument. That's always a key thing you have to do. Always export the evidence. How does it connect to your thesis? Connect the dots. Okay? But again, this is all you need. And with this, you can get a 5. And if you have extra time, right, if you want to try to get sophistication, you can add more stuff, right? You can add an intro, like a hook to your thesis. You can add a conclusion. And the thing about 3 body paragraphs, right? You don't need 3 body paragraphs. If you have 2 body paragraphs that are good, right? 2 good body paragraphs are way better than just like 3, mediocre body paragraphs, right? So if you can think of 3, fine, you can write 3. But again, 2 good body paragraphs are way better than just like 3 mediocre ones. Okay? And for complexity, right? I think if you have extra time, you can always add like a counter argument. That's a good way of getting complexity, right? Addressing the counter argument and kind of having a more nuanced take, right? Trying to understand different sides and explain why that side might be, less supported compared to your side, right? Being nuanced. Okay. So synthesis, right? How do you write a synthesis essay specifically? I think for these essays, right, 50 minutes synthesis, 50 minutes rhetorical, 35 minutes argument. Okay. Synthesis, right? The reason why I give you so much time is because I think you need some time to actually read the passages, right? They give you 6 passages to read those. Tips here, right? Read the question first to understand what you're looking for, what the sides are, what the argument is, right? But don't make a position yet. You want to make your position based on the passages. Then you read the passages carefully. Okay? Right? Think about what the passage is saying. And one thing that really helps me is after every passage, I kind of labeled, what side of the argument was it on, right? What evidence was in it, right? And by labeling this, right, it helps you kind of create your own argument. Then make your thesis, right? And your thesis, right, is based on the passages. So if the passages are mostly supporting this side, maybe you should choose that side, right? So based on what the passages say, choose your thesis. Okay? And then for each one, right, for body paragraphs, you need 3 pieces of sources, right? At least 3 sources for your entire essay. And right, remember, connect your sources to your thesis, right? How does the evidence you chose from the sources connect to your evidence? You always need to do that for every essay, but especially for synthesis. Okay, next, rhetorical. Read the question, right? What are they asking you? Usually it's just like analyzing rhetorical devices for the author's effect. Then you read the passage, okay, and annotate, right? Read the passage and annotate very carefully. I gave you a lot of time for this one because I think you really need to annotate carefully and kind of find devices in this one well. So again, find devices. And the key thing is a device doesn't have to be just like some kind of vocab term, right? If you can say something the author is doing purposely that helps their argument, that is a device. And it doesn't have to be a fancy vocab term. It can just be words is their device, right? Some kind of like phrase is their device. So find device, analyze, right? What is their purpose, their claim, that kind of stuff. Okay. Then, furthermore, for this one, right, you want to kind of think about the rhetorical choices in your thesis, right? That's what the question's asking. But then with your rhetorical choices, you also need to address how does the rhetorical choices contribute to the effect, right? What effect do these choices have on the piece? Okay. And so you need to include this in your thesis, and you need to include this in your body paragraphs, right? So you can connect your argument and explain how the devices you chose, very, very key, how do the devices you choose affect the passage, right? And how does that like lead to the interpretation that you have of the passage? And on the open argument, honestly, I think it's the easiest one, in my opinion, right? Because you make up the evidence, right? There's a open prompt, right? You make up the evidence. So the first thing, right? Understand the question well, right? Make sure you know what the question is asking, so you don't like make some kind of argument that doesn't answer the question, right? You always want to answer the question for everything here, for any test actually. Answer the question, right? And find specific defensible evidence for the claim, right? So what is specific defensible evidence? It's evidence that is actually real and actually supports your claim and can be connected to your claim. And you want to, again, at least 2 pieces of evidence, right? 1 for each body paragraph. More is obviously better, and maybe a counter argument will help as well. So where can you find evidence? You can find evidence in things like history. So if you're taking like a history class alongside this class, that's pretty helpful for evidence. You can also do things with books, right? If you've read books, right? You can use evidence there. Current events. Our world is pretty crazy, so there's a bunch of stuff you can use as evidence. Media, right? Movies, books, TV, songs, I guess, right? These are all evidence you can use. And science, this is a little bit of a stretch. And also personal experience, although I try to stay away from personal experience because it isn't really defensible, right? You can just like be making that up and it's not really that strong. But like if you're really struggling, sure, personal story, personal experience, whatever. But try to stay away from that. Okay, and the last thing is how do we study for the AP Lang FRQ? Multiple choice, right? The way you study is by just doing multiple choice. How do we study for the FRQ, especially if we don't have that much time? And the way I think to study, if you don't have that much time or you're cramming, the way to study is to look at past questions and create a thesis plus evidence outline, right? Instead of studying by writing entire essays, right? I want you to do is to go through these past FRQs, right? 2025, 2024, right? In that order. Look at these questions, right? Analyze them, right? For all 3. Think about, what thesis could I make from this? What evidence could I use? And then stop there, right? Just try to plan, like, how would I kind of answer this question? And by doing this, right, you kind of get the effect of writing an essay, but you don't spend the time writing an essay, right? You get the idea of like creating an ideas, but then you don't have to actually spend all the time writing an essay, which I think is a pretty good strategy to study if you don't have that much time. Okay, so those are my AP Lang multiple choice and FRQ tips 2 of 5. Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye.